Number 4. Is the Copper Scroll treasure real? Another treasure tale that will probably never be resolved is more ancient. In 1952, a copper scroll was found by archaeologists in a cave, along with other Dead Sea Scrolls, at the site of Qumran. As its name suggests, the writing was engraved onto a copper scroll. The scroll records a vast amount of hidden gold and silver treasure, so much, in fact, that some scholars believe that it is impossible for it to exist. Gallery of Dead Sea Scrolls, a glimpse of the past. The scroll dates back more than 1,900 years to a time when the Roman Empire controlled the Qumran area. There were a number of revolts against Roman rule at the time the scroll was written, and scientists have hypothesized that the treasure was hidden to prevent its capture by Roman forces. Whether the treasure is real, where exactly it was hidden, whether it was ever found, and whether it could still exist today are all mysteries that will likely never be solved. Number 3. Is there a city of Atlantis? Writing in the 4th century BC, the Greek philosopher Plato told a story of a land named Atlantis that existed in the Atlantic Ocean and supposedly conquered much of Europe and Africa in prehistoric times. In the story, the prehistoric Athenians strike back against Atlantis in a conflict that ends with Atlantis vanishing beneath the waves. While no serious scholar believes that this story is literally true, some have speculated that the legend could have been inspired, in part, by real events that happened in Greek history. One possibility is that the Minoan civilization, as it's now called, which flourished on the island of Crete until about 1400 BC, could have inspired the story of Atlantis. Although Crete is in the Mediterranean, and not the Atlantic, Minoan settlement suffered considerable damage during the eruption of Thera, a volcano in Greece. Additionally, archaeologists found that the Minoans were eventually overcome or forced to join with a group of people called the Mycenaeans, who were based on mainland Greece. It's unlikely that this debate will ever be fully settled. Number 2. What was Jesus really like? The earliest surviving Gospels date to the 2nd century, almost 100 years after the life of Jesus, although recently, it was announced that a possible 1st century fragment had been found. The lack of surviving 1st century texts about Jesus leave biblical scholars with a number of questions. When were the Gospels written? How many of the stories actually took place? What was Jesus like in real life? Archaeological investigations of Nazareth, Jesus' hometown, reveal more about the environment where he grew up. More recently, scientists discovered a 1st century house that, centuries after Jesus' time, was venerated as being the house that Jesus grew up in. But whether it was actually Jesus' house is unknown. Although new research will provide more insight, scholars think it's unlikely they will ever fully know what Jesus was really like. Who was Jesus, the man? Number 1. Who killed JFK? This is probably the biggest mystery in American history that will never be resolved to everyone's satisfaction. On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was shot in Dallas by Lee Harvey Oswald, although some speculate that he wasn't the only one shooting. On November 24, 1963, before Oswald could stand trial, Oswald was fatally shot by nightclub owner Jack Ruby. Ruby died of lung cancer on January 3, 1967. The most widely accepted explanation is that Oswald killed JFK on his own and Ruby killed Oswald, on his own volition. Ruby's stated motivation was to spare Jacqueline Kennedy the discomfiture of Oswald coming back to trial. However, there are still a significant number of professional historians, along with many amateurs, who do not agree with this explanation, and since JFK's death, numerous alternative explanations have been brought forward by historians and amateurs. Given that significant new evidence is unlikely to appear, a firm consensus will probably never be reached.